on GMS stage, I have Irma Parone. All right, Irma, you are a legend.
A
Okay, a
legend.
legend.
Oh, I love
Okay,
that
all right,
word.
without a doubt. When it comes down to people and problem solving, okay, this
Yes,
is a big issue. All
it
right,
is a
for
big
those
issue.
people themselves. Sometimes you may hear me say that if it wasn't for people, I'd probably have a better day. And so
And most employers would say
I
that
would
as
say the
well.
same thing.
Yes,
But you're a people problem solving or already professional.
indeed.
Okay, engaging. How does that go about? What are the elements? All right, what's the crux? What's the beginning? Because a lot of folks themselves are dealing with problems, employees, situations.
Right.
Okay, happy campers, people loving what they do what they love. How does this all start?
Well, if you're talking about how does the problem solving process
Yes,
start,
exactly.
believe it or not, it's identifying the problem,
Good,
which
superb.
many people are working on the wrong problem.
Right.
And so it goes on, and they wonder why nothing changes.
Sure, exactly. Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And I'm sure you use that many a time, without
Yes.
a doubt.
Yes.
All right. But so what's the remedy? What do? We have evaluated the problem.
Right.
We're taking a look at, possible fixes and repairs. You're
Correct.
going to get resilience. You're going to get animosity. You're going to get anxiety and frustration, everything else that rides with that. Okay. Because people don't want to change to some way.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it is really looking at, what is the real root of this problem?
Okay, good.
What not just what is the problem,
Yeah.
defining the problem, and that could take a week
Sure.
sometimes.
Sure. Without a doubt.
But then why?
Yeah.
Why is it happening?
When, and I mean, maybe when did it start?
Right.
All right, so let's take a typical problem. All right. The context, corporate America, context, entrepreneurial America. Okay. Problems. Is it in planning? Is it in budgeting? Is it in people?
People, process, purpose. Those are the areas I look
Got
at.
it.
So
Okay.
I'll give you an example.
Please.
A lot of people call me and say, my people keep quitting. What am I doing wrong? Why am I hiring the wrong person?
Right.
And this happens more than you can imagine. So
Sure,
I
right.
get in there and I dig in and I talk to some of the frequent flyers,
Yeah.
the ones that came in and left. And what I find is some of them really hire bad. But
Okay.
in most cases, it wasn't their hiring process. It was what they did when they brought them in.
Yeah.
So I hire you.
Onboarding.
Onboarding.
Okay.
So I bring you in,
Yeah.
right? Just because you start working for me doesn't mean that your resume disappears.
Right.
So you get calls from other people. When I work with companies, I tell them the first day their goal is when that employee goes home, they say, I love this company.
Right.
And so you work on that because people can, if you get a call
Yeah.
and you went in and you did all this paperwork and you didn't meet anybody and nobody was really nice to you.
Yeah. Right.
It's a very stressful situation,
Sure.
a new job.
Sure it is.
So that's what I mean. So when we looked at it, I had a client come to me and say, I spent years and hundreds of thousands of dollars firing recruiters,
Yeah.
raising pay rates, and they were already competitive, doing all these crazy things once they identified the real problem.
Okay.
But that takes some conversation
Right.
and it takes some digging,
Sure it is.
right? Looking in, not just saying, okay, you know that you're hiring wrong. No, dig in a little bit. Let's see what's really happening.
Yeah. I kind of refer to that as the root cause.
Well, there's two pieces. One is what's the problem, and then what's the root cause of that problem.
Okay, good, superb. All right.
Right.
So we identified now the problem.
Right.
We identified there's a root cause. It
Right.
could be the individual that's doing the hiring.
It could be.
Very well be. All right.
Could be.
But it could be verifying skills, natural tools, talents, resources.
Well,
all right.
communication, right? Expectations.
Raising the level, managing.
Yes. And being very clear. If you would know how often I go to an employee and then I go to their boss and ask them, what are the key things that you need to do in a day?
Right.
They're totally different.
Yeah, totally different.
Totally different. Yeah. And then the employer says, but they had experience, but they didn't have the experience that you have.
Yeah, but they weren't told, they weren't given direction, and there was no plan. Lack of the execution. All right. So they can engage in what the responsibilities were to meet the challenges, maybe wants and needs. I believe wants and needs have to be parallel.
Right.
All right. And so within that, I could want a Mercedes Benz, but I need a bicycle to get around.
Right.
All right.
Right.
So there's a complete disconnect there. And so I think in hiring practices and solving those problems is finding where the disconnect is. All right. Do
It
we
is.
find it in the hiring process, or do we find it in the management personnel? Do we find it in human resources, or do we find it in the job description?
And a lot of times those questions get moved or the problem gets moved
Yeah.
from, well, this is a hiring problem, right?
Right.
So they figure, okay, it's not a hiring problem. So we're going to throw it to the supervisor.
Sure.
And the supervisor says, no, it's an HR problem because we
Mhm.
don't have the processes in
Right.
place.
Exactly.
So that ball keeps moving from person to person
Mm.
and still they haven't solved the problem.
Sure. Right. Exactly. So what's the next remedy? What's the next attack?
Well, the
All
next
right.
thing I do, because I have an 8-step process.
Okay. Let's talk about that.
Okay. So the third step is really assessing the impact
Okay.
because some problems aren't really problems. I mean,
Mm.
some things, you don't want to spend your time and energy on an issue that really goes away in a day.
Sure. That's right.
Somebody blew it up.
Yeah.
Okay, it's passed. But it's the assessment of how does this problem impact the customer,
Okay.
the employees,
End result. All right.
and the bottom line.
Sure.
So it's looking at those three areas to
Mm.
determine is this a real problem? But even if it's just affecting one,
Hmm.
so I have, there was one guy, I didn't even take the job, but he was cutting all his pay rates because he was losing so much revenue. This is when COVID first came
Yeah.
in.
Right. Exactly.
So he cut all his pay rates. Well, that created a bigger problem.
Sure it is. Yeah.
His employees left. And sometimes you could do that because you're overcompensating. I mean, if you can overcompensate, that's beautiful.
Sure. Right.
Right.
Exactly.
But in this case, he wasn't.
Sure.
So if it impacts even just one category, the employees,
Hmm.
and then they leave or they get disgruntled,
Yeah.
who does that impact? It impacts the customer and it impacts the bottom line.
Sure it is. Leaders themselves feel a problem between the fear of the unknown, already, and pride versus humility.
Well, and, the problem with problems is decision making is very emotional.
Sure it is.
When I wrote my book and I started researching, I mean, I've done problem solving for people all my career, which
Right,
is
exactly.
longer than I want to admit. I'm not even going to go there.
No, not at all.
Not
That's
going
fine.
there.
Not at all.
Right.
That's all.
But the reason we make poor decisions, I was shocked to continually see research after research is that we're emotional.
There's an emotional tie to the possible outcome.
Yes.
Wow.
So let's look at that employer
Yeah.
who cut pay. He was afraid of losing his business.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So you've got to be able to take that emotion back and look at the realistic situation you're in.
Right.
And he just waited too long. I mean, he
Okay.
waited too long to work on the problem.
Right, exactly. And it sounds like itself because it could be catastrophic by the time itself. Delivery, execution, timing
Right.
is just about everything on there.
Right.
Even when COVID came in, okay, there was a detailed plan, okay, that really had to be reassessed.
Oh,
All
everything
right.
changed.
And those individuals that did not reassess
Right.
were setting themselves up for a litany
Yes.
of giant sized problems themselves.
Yes.
And those themselves that attacked it head on, and I hate the word to use attack, but faced those head on already, I believe itself really changed the direction of fear. All right. And what would happen to the intro? I think it was acted, if that individual itself immediately cut down what the individuals were getting paid,
Right.
okay, from a salary wise, then there was no education. All right.
Right.
What the next process would be. And so that's from our conversation, that's what I would feel. And so that you would go back in and help those individuals through that particular stage to
Right.
identify that's where the
Right.
problem
So,
is.
so for that particular business owner,
Mhm.
yes, his problem was he needed to find money,
Okay.
right? He went to the biggest, so his, biggest line on his P&L was payroll.
Sure. Exactly.
So he went right to that.
Yeah, exactly.
And there were so many other things he could have done
Hmm.
and to protect his employees.
Yeah, right.
But, he waited too long. I
Yeah,
mean,
I
he
would
was in
say so.
trouble.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Those individuals themselves through 9/11, I've seen changes, those through COVID. Let's just say economic events. All right. Things themselves that happen. You have to be proactive, okay, in order to put those plans in place. All right.
Correct.
Yeah, in many of the areas themselves from business and the levels themselves that you've seen that I've seen, all right, there's a number one reason why individuals don't do as well as they could. I'm not going to say they fail, okay, because people themselves, they project failure upon themselves. But I'm saying there's a number one reason why individuals don't do as well as they possibly could is because they fail to plan. There's no plan. You're in that world of planning, all right, and really helping those
Right.
individuals from point A to point B itself. Contingencies.
Right.
What's the next step? What are the areas themselves that we really need to focus on itself that's going to give us the biggest level of productivity based on profitability that's going to and still increase what we're doing? Yeah, there may be some loss, okay? And individuals themselves, I just had, we were talking about AI, all right? And so that's a fear with a lot of folks,
Oh,
okay?
yeah. Yeah.
But I think with this going forward itself, even the 8-step process, all right? Out of that 8-step process you discussed out there, what is the most important step, if you would say?
The most important step is the third step, which
Okay.
is evaluate the
That's what we
impact.
said.
And the fifth
Mm,
step, because what happens is the third step is evaluate the impact, right?
right.
Is this a big problem?
Sure.
Is it something, because you want to really focus on your
Mm,
most important and biggest
sure.
opportunities.
Exactly.
So, do we want to work on this?
Mm,
And then we work through problem solving in a
hmm.
lot of different fun ways.
Good.
And then we go to make our decision.
Hmm.
And the big secret to this, and it's so simple, it's not
Yeah.
easy, but it's
Yeah.
very simple.
Yeah.
It's evaluating the options
Yeah.
again
Okay.
against the customer, the
Mm,
employee, and the
exactly.
bottom line.
Sure.
And so I have a downloadable link, and you could put your problem, the root cause, and then the different solutions you came up with.
Right. Exactly.
And
Yeah.
when you look at all three, it kind of, if you just consider
Yeah.
how does this impact all three of the
Right.
key,
Exactly.
right? You're going to come up with a better
Sure.
solution.
It's going to give me clarity.
Right.
All right. To execution.
Right.
All right. And it's hopefully themselves. I'm going to react based upon a certain initiative or plan, or at least some guidance.
Right.
That's going to get me out of whatever it may be. I've seen it, you've seen it, we've all seen it.
Right.
We've had to take reverse turns, and we've had to augment budgets, and we've had to move things themselves aside, things of this nature. You look at the core and you find out where the core is,
Right.
and then you really develop a plan from there.
Right.
I
You're
mean,
hired.
yeah,
You're hired. I'm
exactly.
going to just hire you today.
Oh,
Sorry, he's leaving. He's leaving. I'm keeping him. I'm taking him
I just got
home.
hired. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Without a doubt. But I'm thinking out here. So, Irma, you also told me yourself you have 2 books out
I
there.
have 2 books.
Okay. And what are those books on?
Problem solving.
Problem solving, of course.
Right.
But the names of those books?
So Winx,
Okay.
pronounced WinX, but it's
Okay.
WINX.
Yep.
The problem solving model to win exponentially with customers, employees, and your bottom line.
Good.
And that's the book for employers,
Okay.
for the company
Okay.
owners, and decision makers.
Right.
The other book is Winx or
Mm.
WinX
Okay.
for employees.
Good.
So they're both 8-step problem solving models. And my dream, you want to know my dream?
Please, I'll take the dream. Go
I
ahead.
want to
Bring it
the
on.
dream.
Bring it on.
So the dream is that I get employers
Yeah.
and employees
Yeah.
looking at the big picture
Right.
and solving problems for the big win, so that everybody, because if you have a minute, when we are born,
Mhm.
we learn how we're dependent. We're
Mhm.
totally dependent.
Sure.
As we grow up, our caregivers, our parents teach us how to be totally independent, how to take care of this problem for myself.
Right.
What we don't really learn is interdependence.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
If my solution only helps me
Mm.
as an employer or as an employer, and it doesn't help the customer and the employee,
Doesn't serve
then
the bottom line. Yeah.
it doesn't serve the bottom
Yeah.
line.
Exactly.
So that's that. I like to work with groups who really want to pull their employees. People don't like to delegate because they're afraid of what they'll do.
Yeah. Right.
Right? I hire you. You only care
You're gonna
about
take my job
you.
away.
Well, you only care about you, so you make a decision that's going to hurt me.
That's right. Exactly.
But if we're all trained on really looking at the big picture
Yeah. Right.
and winning big exponentially,
Yeah.
then we're probably all going to make better decisions.
I'm hoping a lot of individuals themselves hear this and they can understand your direction and what you do to working through the problem solving. All right. I think individuals will really adhere to your 8.8-step method. All righty. And for individuals themselves that want to reach out for you and reach out to you, how can they reach you?
LinkedIn's a great place. That's
Good.
where I live most of my life, is
Okay.
on LinkedIn.
Is it Irma Perdone?
It's either Irma Parone or Parone Group. I forget
Perone Group.
how it.
Okay,
I
good. No,
forget how it's
that's all right.
listed. Yeah,
And
one
is
of
there
those
is there
two.
an email or website itself they can
Yes,
go
I
to?
have two websites. I
Good,
have a
please do.
speaking website, which is irmaparone.com.
Okay.
And to spell Parone, it's like par one if you're a golfer.
Ah, look at that. All right, so
Parone.
now we service a whole
Yep.
new clientele, golfers. Yeah.
IRMAPARONE.
Good,
So irmaparone.com, and my website for my consulting is paronegroup.com.
good deal. So, Irma, it has been my honor. All right, to
been
talk business
mine.
with you today.
And
all
now
right?
that you're working for me,
I
you're going
know.
to have to
Imagine
just
that. Now
leave
I
here.
work for
Yeah.
Irma. All right,
Yeah.
without a doubt. But I want to thank you very much. All
Thank
right,
you.
for bringing that particular gift of talent. All right, to this table today.
Thank you,
And
sir.
I look forward. All right. I want to continue with this because
Yes.
there's a lot more conversation we need to bridge on here.
Yes, we
So,
do. Yes.
Irma, thank you very much. And
Thank
for
you.
those individuals themselves at NSA Thrive, we want to thank you. And we shall be back shortly. GMS Studios. Thank you. Take care.